Once again, we are with Cathy Wilcox, that's me, and Voice of the Valley, that's my show. And we have a very, very good show. I do have to start with some bad news, and I'm so sorry to have to tell you this, but my first guest who was scheduled, Franco Peraza, who is my ballroom instructor extraordinaire, can't be on the show today because he's sick. Apparently that brutal windstorm we had last week really kicked up problems for people with allergies and various respiratory things, which the Valley is so good at doing. So we wish you well, Franco, and we will have you on a future show. Yes? Okay. I just wanted to give you a few updates on some past guests and let you know what they're up to and kind of some upcoming things that you can look forward to. Krista Peel, who was on last week, I think, she was the psychic medium, and she was here with Angie. Saturday, she had what she calls a gallery reading at the Coarse Gold Museum. And if you've never been up there, it's right before you turn right to Chichansey, so you can't miss it. It's a really fun place. It was the actual stagecoach stop on the way up to Yosemite, and fascinating history. And she had a reading there in the schoolhouse, what used to be the schoolhouse. And I'm going to try to have that segment on an upcoming show. And actually, I'm going to have a gallery reading in my house after the first of the year, and I'm going to have that on the show. And she also does animals, and she gave me some information about my animal, my Molly. So can you bring up the first picture of Molly? My little love bug. This is Molly, and you can tell she's absolutely thrilled to be wearing her Halloween costume. She's so humiliated, the poor thing. I mean, no wonder she's messed up. But she is a little bit older, and I have some health concerns about her. Do you have the other one, Kylie? Where she doesn't look so distressed. Okay, this is like before she had to go out in public in her Halloween costume, so she's not quite as stressed out and humiliated, but poor thing, she's so adored. Don't you think she's... Oh, I haven't introduced you yet. Matt's sitting by me, and you haven't introduced you yet. So it was really interesting going back to the gallery reading. There was an Indian person, because that's all built on Indian land. That's why the casinos are there, right? So an Indian actually came up first as the spirit who wanted to talk and welcomed us all there. And we promised to appreciate the land and really be kind to Mother Earth. And it was a really spiritual kind of opening. It was very exciting. And speaking for this Indian, you could actually feel the presence. And it's really hard to explain, but I'd really encourage you to take advantage of one of her readings. It's very, very fascinating. And last week I also did the Best of Fresno with Jennifer Barnett, who is with Cupid for Hire, and that's what we did. We met a lot of great people, drank a lot of great Bellini peach sparkling wine, which I'll talk about more in a later show, but it was very, very good. And I collected a lot of business cards from what I hope will be potentially future guests, because there's a huge amount of business here in the Valley that I'd love to promote and get some business going for them. And lastly, this Saturday, I will be doing a Holiday Jean Boutique at Studio 65, and the address there at Studio 65 is 2985 North Maroa, and these are designer jeans. They're up to 50% off, size 0 to 24, and I'm just going to stand up just for a moment and show you. I don't know if you can get this. I'm into bling. I'm into sparkle and bling, and these are the ones that I like. We have a whole array of those, and for people like my daughter who are 5'10", who are really tall and they have trouble finding jeans, the designer jeans actually come very, very long. So for tall ladies, it's the place to be. So that's from 9 to 12 this Saturday at Studio 65. Okay, moving on. We have with us, and I forgot to ask how you pronounce your name, but Matt Mazzei?
Great.
Matt Mazzei's here, and he's actually the cousin of Jennifer Barnett, and we were talking, and I wanted to give you these Cupid for Hire CDs. We handed these out at Best of Fresno, and we had a country one, we had one for Today's Hits with people like Katy Perry, and you'll like that one a lot, and then also 80s. I don't know if you're into 80s,
I lived through it.
Yeah, so did I.
Unofficially, of course.
A lot younger than I did, but anyway, this is Matt Mazzei, and he is the founder? You could say?
Good.
Okay,
president, founder,
of Rainbow
Chancellor.
Delegation. He's the head honcho, right? Okay. So I want to welcome you to Voice of the Valley, and you have a lot to talk about. Our little bracelets here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, first I want to know, how did you come up with the idea for Rainbow Delegation? What is your goal? Kind of give us an overview.
The Rainbow Delegation actually is a project that I started about last September in 2010. And the concept came to me due to some events that occurred over that summer in 2010. I personally was born in Fresno and raised in the Valley. And so I know how difficult it can be sometimes in areas that tend to lean a little bit more on the conservative side. And so growing up gay in the Valley, it was very difficult for me, not only socially, but also coming to terms with myself and my sexuality. But what I noticed was that the more that I was comfortable with myself and the more that I was out with other people, the more I was having, especially the youth that I was in contact with, mainly through the music community, because I'm a musician for a living. Well, kind of a living. I mean, that's a...
Well, I have to have you to do your music next time. I didn't know that. I would have made you... What do you play?
Violin.
Oh, that's
I
easy
play
to
the
carry
Fresno
around.
Philharmonic.
Is that your violin?
If I say yes, does that mean I have to play? Can I play another time?
Yes. I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm a musician. Okay, great. All right. Okay. Anyway, go on.
Okay. And so these young people that I had met through the music community, mostly high school age, the more and more I was out, the more they were coming to me, needing someone to talk to, needing someone to come out to. And this reached a bit of a culmination point during this last summer in 2010, when in the span of 2 weeks, I counted 6 young people coming out to me, all unrelated to each other. And it was just kind of, it took me back. I was not prepared for that. But what I noticed was that a common feeling amongst them was that they didn't really have anyone else that they could talk to.
Isn't that sad?
It is, yeah. And in a lot of ways, inaccurate. I realized that the problem wasn't so much that they didn't have support and that there wasn't a large community of support even in this area, but more that they just couldn't recognize how much support they had. And so they didn't know the people at their school or, even at their church or at the supermarket or everywhere they went, people that accepted them, people that supported them, people that they could talk to. And so the concept of the wristbands came to me, and I thought, well, if the support in the community was a visual presence, if they could simply look at someone and go, oh, that's somebody that's safe, that's somebody that supports me, that's somebody that I can talk to, it would go a long way into helping them not feel so isolated and so afraid. And so it started with just a few dozen of these adorable little rainbow wristbands, and I picked up a few dozen.
I feel like I'm on HSN now. You can wear this for any occasion.
That's right. It matches everything and nothing at the same time, so for any ensemble.
Perfect.
But I got a few dozen, and I went to my friends, some of my close friends, and I explained the concept, and I gave them a wristband to wear. And my friends generally do what I say, so they wore them. And, they understood and they liked the idea. But I really didn't expect what happened next. They were wearing the wristbands, and then friends of theirs saw them wearing it. It's like, hey, what is that? Because a lot of the friends I gave them to were straight. And so you see, established heterosexual, wearing a wristband, it doesn't seem to fit.
Right.
So they explained the concept, and their friends, a lot of them were like, oh, that's really cool. Can I get one? And so my friends came back to me, and were just kind of like, hey, let's get, can you get some more? And I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And so kind of Googled around and found a more consistent source that I could get a little bit larger quantity, and got a shipment of like 1,000. And just started giving them out to people that wanted them, and just giving them free because I didn't want to charge. I just wanted people to wear them. I thought that was great, that people locally wanted to wear these wristbands to identify themselves as supportive. And then a friend of mine knew someone that was from Fresno and went to college in New York and wanted a wristband. And so they wanted me to mail them a wristband, and I thought, sure, why not? Okay, if I'm giving them free, I'll mail you one free. That's fine.
Sure.
And that kind of established what I now consider to be the worst business model in the world, which is every wristband is given completely free, and that's including shipping to anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world. And so, kind of to make a long story, slightly less long, in the last about 14 months, we've managed to now distribute over 90,000 wristbands in now 76 countries.
That is fantastic.
So people in 76 countries, and I think we have a few
Can we
photos.
see some, pictures.
This is where I cue up the tech, right? The photos.
Yes. Okay.
This is actually Lenny from Finland, and Lenny contacted us for a wristband, and then contacted us again after she got her wristband and said, I never thought that my friends would ever want to wear a rainbow wristband. We live in a very conservative small town in Finland. But my friends are even more awesome than I thought they were. Can you send me, 9 more or whatever?
Yeah.
And so I sent her more, and then she emailed back and said that she actually asked for an extra one in that batch for her mother, just in case that her mother wanted one when she came out to her, and she was planning on coming out to her after she got the other wristbands for her friends.
Oh.
And so she came out to her mother after receiving the wristbands, and the picture that you just saw is actually Lenny and her mother.
Oh.
Her mother clearly very supportive,
Embraced
and that was
her,
just
and
very sweet. It was very nice to
That's a good
see
story.
the photo and hear from her.
That's a very
And she's
good
kept
story.
in contact, and she went to her first Pride Parade, I think, in Helsinki, and she's doing very well. So
Excellent.
happy.
I'm really
But that's
glad to
actually a
hear
picture now you're
Oh, look
seeing
at that.
of a woman in India who is a teacher at a school where a lot of the students have requested wristbands. And so I think there's another photo of some of those students. Now, there you go. That's
Oh
it.
my goodness! Look at that.
Yeah, so those are some students in India, and they have our little flyer in the background on their chalkboard. And so it's just really neat to get these photos from people all over the world. And I think the next one that you have there on the list is actually from Singapore. And this is from a festival that they call Pink Dot, which has been happening for a few years. And it is their only, as far as I know, their only real big LGBT. It's kind of like a pride festival, but more of a support festival, and everyone wears pink.
And that's in Singapore.
In Singapore,
Okay.
yeah. So that's a big group of friends that requested wristbands in Singapore. So we have people from all over the world requesting wristbands, and so as you can imagine, when I first started this project, it was never meant to be shipping out
Right,
wristbands to
right.
people in Singapore for their Pink Dot event. It just word of mouth. and-
I just think that's amazing. It's like that game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like seriously. I mean, everything's
play
going to
that
come
game
back to
sometime.
you.
That's great.
Do you know that game? Everyone is related. Everyone has.
I know the
worked
6
with
degrees of separation.
Yeah, but using Kevin Bacon in Hollywood, everyone has worked with Kevin Bacon. 6 actors. You can name any 6 actors, and
Okay.
within those people, they have worked with Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
I mean, man, come on. Let's get
Off
over the
kilter.
times. Okay.
Man.
No. It's okay. It's all right. I think that's really, really exciting. I think, we were talking about Graham Norton, who I think he's hysterical, and I wanted to do a bit today that I kind of stole from him, but I'm giving him full credit for it. So I thank you, Graham, and I'll be on your show at any time, and you're also welcome to come on my show at any time as well. And I will be serving drinks in the future. I didn't know we could do that.
That would have been great.
Well, next time when you play your violin,
Okay.
all right, we'll do.
That's my bribe.
We'll do a shot, and then we'll hear a little music. Shot, music.
Okay.
But I think you should send these. You liked him. You like him as a
Graham
host,
Norton, yes.
and he is out. I mean, he's
Yes.
publicly very out of his mind and out. But you should send him a big bag and say, "I'd love to come on your show and promote my wristbands in the Rainbow Delegation." And I bet he would jump on it. I really do.
I'm hoping that as the word spreads and the movement continues, that the various shows and people that are in high positions would want wristbands, at least to wear for themselves,
I
if
think
not to
that-
promote.
What about Chaz? He could have worn them on Dancing with the Stars.
You give him a call and you let him know about the wristbands, and I'll
Just
call Ellen up and
leave it to me. I'll take care
I'll let
of
you
everything.
take care
all
of
right?
it.
I'll be your manager.
Okay,
I'll
thank
take care
you.
of it. As I was telling you, also, we have a few seconds before commercial. I'll just
Uh-oh.
leave you hanging. I know, time goes by really
Yeah,
fast
that
here,
was
doesn't
fast.
it? I know. We have much more with Matt coming up after our break, and we'll get into how I came out last week. And you don't want to miss that because I'll do a recap
Very exciting.
on my coming. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. Okay, so we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and we are still with Matt Mazzei, and he's got a lot more to talk about. I did forget to welcome you to the islands. This is my
Oh,
own
yes,
personal little cove here.
I'm glad I dressed
Isn't
for the
it
tropics.
nice? I know.
It's very
I know.
nice.
We're in velvet. Everyone wears velvet to the tropics, right?
Clearly.
Brain surgeon here. What we talked about, we have a few more pictures to show, but I did want to get into and the free aspect.
Right.
We do live in a capitalist
Right.
society. No matter who wants to change that, it's still a capitalist society. So how can we start getting you some money for your wristbands?
Well, I'm glad you said free with the little quotations, because yes, they're free for people requesting them, but they're clearly not free for us in the organization as a whole. Yes,
Right,
they have to be purchased,
them.
they
Yes.
have to be shipped, they
Yes.
have to be, I mean, the postage itself is much more of an expense than the wristbands, because if you're shipping a single wristband to France, the wristband itself is much less than the postage. So I've had many people suggest to me from the very, very start that I charge for the wristbands, right? Or that I charge for shipping or something along those lines. The reason I started from the very beginning not charging for the wristbands and giving them free is I wanted to make this not the next wristband fundraiser. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so everyone and their grandma has a wristband for sale for some sort of a cause,
True.
right? Which is great. I mean, you have the Livestrongs, you have the I Heart Boobies, and that's literally what it says.
I know. Oh yes, I forgot about that one. Yeah, you're right.
The breast cancer
Yes,
awareness
yes, yes.
wristbands. How is that? And people buy them, and then that money goes towards research, and it's a great cause. This particular wristband is different in that it is not a fundraiser for a particular cause. It is actually meant solely for the purpose of wearing the wristband itself. Mm-hmm. And so the impact you make is not through buying the wristband or getting the wristband, it is through wearing the wristband. And so with the Livestrongs, with the breast cancer wristbands, you can buy one, you can toss it in your drawer at home, and you still help. Your money still went for the research. The difference here is that the only way that these wristbands make a difference is if the people who really need to see the support that's out there can see the wristband, which means that the person has to be wearing it. And so I do very, very much suggest to people and plead with them that if they request a wristband, that they do wear it on a daily basis, because you never know when a person who desperately needs to see the support that they don't know is out there will be there to see it. And if you're not wearing it on that day, they may miss that opportunity.
Exactly.
And I have had some very great feedback from people about that. I had an email almost at the beginning of this project from this man Curtis in Salt Lake City, Utah. And at the time, I think I had only sent maybe a couple of wristbands to Salt Lake City,
to Utah? What a shock!
I know.
Yeah, who would have guessed?
Yeah, seriously. But he sent me an email saying that his boyfriend was wearing a wristband at his work. I imagine it's some sort of retail place, because he said that there was a mom who was shopping there with her 15-year-old son. And the next day, the mom actually came back and gave Curtis's boyfriend a big hug and thanked him for wearing his wristband. Mm-hmm. And he said that what she told him was that the day before, her son had just come out to her and had been saying how difficult everything had been because the environment there was so strict and so unaccepting. And that he had seen this man wearing his wristband and realized that there were actually people out there that, if not were gay and out, at least were supportive. And so he realized that things were better than he thought they were. And so it kind of goes along the lines of the It Gets Better project.
Yes.
Except this is kind of more of it is better than you think, and let's make it better. So I really do stress for people to wear the wristband if they do request one. And as for the entire free concept, the reason for that, and trust me, I've been very tempted to start charging, and that is because it is so incredibly expensive to continue this project. But like Lenny in Finland, whose photo we just saw, this is a high schooler in Europe who isn't out to her parents yet at the time, and there's a lot of young people like that who want a wristband but aren't going to go to their parents, or aren't going to have a parent say, sure, here's my credit card, go pay $3 to some person in America for this gay wristband or whatever they would think it is.
Yeah.
And so I thought from the very beginning that as much as possible, I want anyone who wants to be a visual presence of support to be able to do that, regardless of their financial situation or their location, which is why I opened it up to pretty much anyone. Mm-hmm. That, of course, has come back around and gotten us quite backed up on requests. We have lots of requests still to fill. And it gets quite expensive. However, people have stepped up, and the entire project is run on voluntary donations.
Let's stop right there. Let's be real informative to our audience, where can they send donations?
Right.
Go ahead.
If you go to our website, which is www.rainbowdelegation.org, rainbowdelegation.org, and I think they're going to throw that up on the screen at some point.
Perfect.
You can request a wristband, and you can also donate. There's a PayPal donation link.
Okay.
There's a donate page, and it also has an address that people can send, check, money order, etc. We also accept postage stamps.
Tax deductible, because is it?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Pending. So we're waiting
Pending.
waiting on the IRS. So.
Give money anyway. Just give from your heart and.
People have really stepped up. I mean, tax deductions are great, but people that really believe in the cause, I mean, they're gonna help out.
And everything's gonna help.
Everything helps. Trust me, it's the vast majority of our funds come from people who donate a few bucks. And so, yeah, sure, there's people that every once in a while they'll give $100 or $200, but mostly it's just people that send in $1 or $2 and say thanks for the wristband.
Let's send out a shout out to the local businesses for Matt's organization and see if you can do some corporate donations or some business donations to help the Rainbow Delegation. I mean, I think Matt has started something phenomenal. Obviously, it's resounding around the world, literally around the world. And entrepreneurs and visionaries, which I think you definitely are. Yes, that's you.
Fancy.
But I mean, anybody that goes out of their way to help other people, they should be rewarded. And let's help.
Or at least enabled to continue their efforts.
Yeah, one or the other. But let's see if we can help on maybe a corporate level, a business level, and absolutely an individual level to help the Rainbow Delegation continue.
And I very much appreciate that. And any help is more than welcome. Actually, I should probably tell your viewers it's a little bit silly for me to come on and tell them to request a wristband, because in the month of December we've decided to suspend requests in order to allow myself and the other volunteers to catch up on the requests that we've had, because we have probably about 6,000 backed up requests. Every single one of those has to be put on an envelope, it has to be filled with a wristband, it has to be sent out, so the postage has to be paid for. And so rather than allowing it to continue to accumulate and make people wait longer and longer for that wristband to arrive, we've decided to take a month off from requests, and then people can begin requesting it in January. And hopefully in the month of December we can continue. However, if people are super, super excited about getting a wristband that are watching...
Who wouldn't be?
And this,
hello? Okay, go ahead.
And this is a Central Valley base.
Right.
The LGBT Center that recently opened right down the street in the Tower District of Fresno actually has wristbands there, and I continue to keep them supplied so that people that visit the LGBT Center, I'm trying to remember exactly the address, but it's just south of Olive on Van Ness, on the southwest side.
Okay.
And you can go, and there's wristbands there. And so I encourage people to not only check out the LGBT Center just for the sake of the center itself, but also if you wish a wristband in the month of December and don't want to wait till January to request one, you can do that at the center.
Now, you also have a Facebook page and a website. I mean, I can't believe we're almost out of time already.
I keep blabbing.
No, that's okay. That's all right. You have a lot of information. We'll have you back.
Great.
Well, he's going to play the violin next time after a couple of shots, so it'll be fun. But tell us about your website and your Facebook.
The website, rainbowdelegation.org. Like I said, there's testimonials there. There's videos. There will be in January a way to request wristbands. There still is, in case people want to preempt their request with a donation, which is very, very helpful, a donation link and an address for physical donations to be sent. The Facebook page is actually really cool. If there's a link on the website, if you go to the Facebook page, we've got maybe about 9,000 or so likes on it, which is cool. But the really neat thing is that there are literally thousands of photos that people have posted, I think about 2,000 photos, from all over the world. So from the very beginning of this project, I have been encouraging people to take a picture with their wristband, no matter where they are in the world, and post it on the Facebook page. And so you can go and look in the albums, and there's people from South Africa, and like Lenny from Finland, and Morocco,
and Indian
people. India, and almost every European country, and Australia, and New Zealand, and every state in the United States. And so
you keep talking. I'm gonna I have a little surprise for Matt. So you just keep talking about what you're doing, and don't pay me any. Never mind.
Okay, I will completely ignore you. So.
Okay, good.
I encourage
most
people.
men do, so that's fine.
Well, there's a particular reason for me, darling. So it's fine. The Facebook page, I encourage people, if they do get a wristband, to post a photo, because it really helps, especially for people who may be the only person in their city or area that has a wristband, to connect and see all the other people involved in this movement, so they realize that they're not only not alone as possibly an LGBT person, although we do have tens of thousands of straight allies wearing wristbands. And I should probably mention that if you can throw up the photo of the senior couple, that would be fantastic.
Oh,
yes, I love this photo. This is a couple from Yucca Valley, California, whose son actually tragically died in the 80s from HIV.
Oh, no.
And so they requested a wristband, and they wear it in support of their son and anyone else who may be needing to see that they
I'm gonna
have
cry.
that they are supported. And so it's just an adorable photo,
It
and
is
I love
adorable. And I want to let everyone know, look at this. I have a 10 spot right here I'm going to put in this young man's hand. And I
You don't want to put it in
encourage...
your pocket.
Oh, baby, can I? Woo, now we're talking. Yeah. I want to encourage everyone, if it's $1, if it's $5, if it's whatever, just give. I mean, it's a season of giving. And this guy has just, I'm sure this is not something that you just do 5 minutes a day. This is something that takes time and concentration and help. So, bless you.
You're so sweet.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very well. I wish it could be more,
Well,
but now that I know
trust
that
me,
I can donate.
every bit helps. Every bit
Okay,
helps.
so I encourage all of you to do the same, whatever you can give, to help Matt out in this most worthy of causes, because I am tired of seeing these fabulous young people at the end of their ropes
Right.
they think they have no help,
Right.
but there's always a better way than to die.
Right.
It breaks my heart with the bullying and the suicides and the this, that, and the other thing. That's got to stop. It's just got to stop. And this is one very clear visual way to do that. So I just think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. And tell us a little bit more. We're going to come up on a break, but how did you get started playing the violin?
I actually started over in Manchester here at the elementary school in Fresno on cello when I was 7. And when I was 10, I was getting incredibly frustrated that the principal cellist didn't come out and tune the orchestra and bow at the beginning of concerts. The principal violinist did that. And me, being the little diva, was thinking, well, I want to be the one that does that. So I actually switched to violin, and the next year I was concertmaster.
I
and
love
so that
violin music.
I've continued it, and I actually am in the master's program for violin at Fresno State.
Fantastic.
And I play in the Fresno Philharmonic here as well.
Do you, that's going to be really a stupid question, but you know, it's a Perlman.
Yes, of course.
I love him. Do you play that Schindler's List theme?
I actually just performed the Schindler's List theme at the Transgender Day of Remembrance this last month.
Well, I'm
here
going to
in
put
Fresno.
my request in now, because that's one of my all-time
Okay,
favorite
I'll
pieces
play
of
it for you.
music. It's just, if you don't know, if you've never seen Schindler's List, shame on you, number one, for
One of
not
my
seeing
favorite
Schindler's
movies
List.
of all time.
What's that?
One of my favorite movies of all time.
It's not that funny. I have to.
No,
it's
it's not.
really not that funny. But
Bring tissues.
Bring tissues. But it's one of my favorite all-time pieces of music. And Kylie, when are we up for a commercial? So let me wrap things up and say thank you so much for coming in, Matt. I want you back.
My pleasure.
I want you. I know
well,
it'll never work out between us,
darling,
but
darling.
I know I have to get over that. But thank you for coming in. Good luck with Christmas, and we'll have you back after the first of the year.
Great. Sounds
Okay?
great. And then people can actually request wristbands after I
And you
talk
can
about
actually
it.
request
Wow.
wristbands, and I'm going to wear mine proudly. And coming up, we're going to talk about the Fresno Christmas Parade, and I have a costume all ready for my entry into the parade. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm dressed for my Christmas parade outing, as you can see, and happy reindeer. My next guest is it Kate or Katie?
Whatever you like.
Well,
I go by Kate. My
Kate,
parents call me
okay.
Katie, so.
Oh, that is confusing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay, well, we have Kate Borders here, and she is the president and CEO of Partners of Downtown Fresno. And PBID, what does that stand for?
Property-based Business Improvement District.
Oh my. Okay. Well, we'll just say she's a partner of Downtown Fresno, and there's so much talk about downtown Fresno and revitalization,
Yes.
but we're not here to talk about that. We are actually going to talk about our first annual Christmas parade.
Well,
Is
no,
that
it's
it?
the 82nd annual Christmas parade. The city has been producing it for 81 years.
Oh.
And they just couldn't afford to do it this year because of budget constraints. So we picked it up.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad there was somebody there to
Yeah.
pick up the ball and run with
Yeah.
it. Now, you are looking for particular acts, right? Or people to participate?
If
in the
people
parade?
still want to participate, we can squeeze them in. Volunteers, we would love to have volunteers as well. So there's definitely room to still get involved with the parade. It's this Saturday though, so
That's okay. We work well on short notice.
All right.
That's not a problem. How did you get involved with? Now, you said you've only been in Fresno a very short time.
Correct.
How did that all happen? How did you come
Get here?
Yeah.
luck of the draw. Yeah, I moved here for this job. I do downtown revitalization, that sort of thing, and so I found out about this organization and got the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where did you move from?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What
Yes.
sitcom was based there?
Laverne and Shirley and
Shamil
Happy Days.
Shemazel.
And Happy Days, yeah.
And wasn't
Actually, Laverne and Shirley was a spinoff of Happy Days, so.
you must be older than you look, or you watch Nickelodeon or something, because
And I lived
that's
in
something
Milwaukee,
I would know.
so these were things that we talked about a lot in Milwaukee. So
I thought the '70s show, was the '70s show based
wasn't
there?
that Minnesota? I don't know.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What kind of things are already entered into the parade? Because I have to admit, I've been in Fresno since 1991. I've never been to the Christmas parade.
Okay.
So,
Well, just so
my
you
bad.
know, this
Okay.
apparently is the longest running Christmas parade on the West Coast. So
No
if we
kidding.
had dropped it, it would have gone away.
You're kidding.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, huh?
Who knew? I had no idea.
Yeah.
The date is this Saturday. What is
This
the
Saturday,
time?
December 10th, 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
And if people want to volunteer, they can still volunteer. We need people to actually be in the parade, carrying signs, distributing candy, that sort of thing.
Okay.
We also need people to help us with the staging, just kind of nailing people and making sure that they're in line and that kind of thing beforehand. And then we need a couple of people on the route to make sure that the crowd doesn't get out of control and run in front of the floats and all that kind of fun stuff.
What's the route of this parade?
We are starting on the Fulton Mall around at Merced and the Fulton Mall, going all the way down the Fulton Mall south to Kern Street, and then Kern all the way to basically N, or I like to say where the Starbucks is.
I don't even know where that is. Down Fulton to where I know. I'm a northerner.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? I live in North Fresno, and it's like a whole different world from downtown. And I didn't know this was here until I started.
And here
show.
it is.
I know it's right
Here it is.
We have live webcasts in Fresno. Who knew?
Yeah.
So okay, so about how long? How many miles or
It's 8 city blocks.
8 city blocks? Oh, so it's kind of short.
We shortened it because apparently, there were so many people coming to the parade in previous years, but they were all spread out, so it didn't feel like a mass.
Oh, okay.
So we want to kind of tighten it and make it feel like you're in a really great urban environment.
And I'm sure it will be. Do you have floats and everything?
Oh, yeah.
You have floats?
Bands, different marching bands, cheer groups. We have Miss Fresno County is going to be in the parade. The mayor, Ashley Swearingen, will be our grand marshal, kicking
Excellent.
things off.
Okay.
We have Santa and his lovely wife, Mrs. Claus.
Wow. Now
Yes.
that's a draw. So kudos for you for getting them to come
It
down
was
here.
hard.
Their schedule
They're
must be.
busy.
I know.
Yeah,
And God bless them for fitting this into their schedule.
Exactly.
And it's their busy time of year.
Yeah.
Clearly. Well, I'm really excited. I think that I should. And there's no past video of the
The
parade,
city
or is
might
it-
have some past videos, and they have a couple of images on their website, but we just didn't own any of that content because we've never produced the parade before. So, I would just have been going to YouTube like you would or anybody else would. So,
Okay, so give us some specific things, just some ideas, because not everyone is as creative as you and I. So what kind of things would you like to see, and how do they get a hold of you if they want to do this?
so if people still want to be in the parade, what I would like is, first of all, any organization can do a float.
Okay.
And we actually even have some floats that they can get if they can't find like the physical unit to make a float out of. If they're decorative but not technical.
Yeah.
We have push floats, so they don't even need an engine.
Oh, cool.
They can literally just decorate this float and then pull it in the parade.
Okay.
And we have those at our office, which is at 845 Fulton Mall, and they can just stop by and pick one up if they want to decorate it, between now and the parade.
845 Fulton Mall. So what building are you in?
We are directly across the mall from the old Gottschalk's building.
Okay.
So
Old
we're at
Gottschalk's
the
building.
end near Inyo.
Okay.
The southern end. Or if there's any kind of a performance group, they could get a performance together and still be in the parade. We would need to know as soon as possible. Because
Clearly.
we're doing all of the kind of organizing of who goes where and the order and all of that sort of stuff. right now.
Is this going to be live broadcast? You're going
Yes.
to have commentators? Who are your commentators?
Our commentators are both with Kay Jewel, Felina and Jim.
Okay, great. So shout
And
out to them.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. Kay Jewel's been a great partner of ours. And KC24 is going to be doing the live broadcast.
Okay.
And so it'll be obviously live right then, but then they'll also re-air it a few times later on. So for the parade participants, they can see themselves.
So did you
Later
do
on.
this kind of job in Milwaukee then?
I did events. This is my first parade, but I've done large-scale events for most of my career. So, yes.
Okay. And what other kind of things are you working on past the parade? Because, like I said, you probably
There is
are-
life after the parade.
There is life after the parade. This is true. And, you know, as long as I've been here, I've been hearing revitalize downtown Fresno, revitalize downtown Fresno, which I think is an absolutely wonderful idea because we have the beautiful old buildings, the security building, Fulton Mall. My grandparents lived in Fresno when I was little, and we used to walk up and down the Fulton Mall. It was an entirely different Fulton Mall than it is now.
Right.
And I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, it was just a place where, you know, the families went and they had, you know, nice shopping and things like that. So what's on the drawing board? Can you give us any hints?
Well, definitely. It is a process. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is revitalization is there's no one key to doing it. And even though it sounds like, oh, okay, well, look at other cities and see what they've done. Every city has different demographics, different types of people, different attitudes and history. And so you can't even look at any other city and say, okay, well, let's follow this recipe and it'll definitely turn out that way,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
So what we're starting with is our plan is to start to produce some events that engage the people that work downtown. So you've got this built-in audience, and we need to make sure that they appreciate their environment and that hopefully they'll return and start to spread the word. Because they live places like you live.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
they live out north, they live wherever.
Right.
And then hopefully they'll enjoy being in downtown as we start to do some kind of environmental improvements, making downtown look more attractive and feel safe and all of those sorts of things. Then they'll kind of leave and say, you know, downtown's looking good.
Wouldn't that be
It's getting
wonderful?
a little facelift.
That will be wonderful.
And so as we get the facelift and we start to do events, then we can kind of prove that it is a great space and people will start coming back downtown.
Yeah.
And then that's our goal, you know, go from there and then attract new restaurants and then attract new retailers and then you start to just kind of build on that momentum. Once it starts, it'll go.
I hope so.
It will.
Because I would really like to see, I mean, I know someone started lofts downtown,
Yeah, there
which
are
is
lofts.
an outstanding idea, but you got to have something nice to look at. So if we could put in, you know, I've got all kinds of ideas, you know, a canal, and I always think about Union Street, or I've even seen the Tower District, you know, businesses not, you know, fold that were here for years.
Right.
And the economy. So, I mean, is it something that the economy has to turn around first in order to really start getting in and changing downtown Fresno?
Well, that answer is different depending on what you're trying to attract.
Okay.
You know, different developers and different retailers, different businesses aren't going to come right now. But you can lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
You can start to attract them. You can start to make sure that all the infrastructure is in place. An organization like ours is there to be an advocate and to help kind of attract them, make it easy, you know, bridge the gap between anything that's going on with developers and development and the city, you know, and making sure that there's kind of a great conduit there, that it's just easier for people to make things happen. So, yeah, we can build all of that now.
You've got your work cut out for you.
We all do.
There's no doubt. Well, I can't believe that we're at the end of our segment already. Quickly, where can people who want to perform and attend the parade, particularly performers, how can they get a hold of you quickly?
My email is kborders@downtownfresno.org.
K Borders, like the bookstore.
Borders like the bookstore.
Yeah, okay.
So just the letter K, borders@downtownfresno.org. Our website is downtownfresno.org. It has
Okay.
all the information about our website, about the parade there. And they can call me.
Okay.
My number is 490-9966.
Katie, thank you so much for coming into Voice of the Valley. I appreciate it so much.
Thank
and
you
I will
for
have you
having
back
me.
as a regular guest and
I would love it.
give us updates on what's going on
Thanks,
in Fresno.
Cathy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome back to Voice of the Valley. Our very last guest, but certainly not least important guest, is Diana Smith. And she is a PharmD, which is a pharmacist, a doctor of pharmacy, correct? And she actually graduated in 1992 from UCSF, one of the top pharmacy schools in the country, from what I understand. Is that correct?
Yes.
Her family business is medical dental pharmacy, one of the best kept secrets in Fresno, but hopefully after this it will be a lot less on the secret side and more on the public information side. She's an associate professor of UCSF and UOP pharmacy schools. I know UOP has an outstanding pharmacy school. And she's a founding member of HEAL, H-E-A-L, which stands for Healthcare Experts Alliance for Life. And let's start there. What do you do there? What does that mean exactly?
It's actually a non-profit group here in Fresno, which is an educational group of different allied health professionals, physicians, chiropractors, there's dentists.
It's a wellness.
It's a wellness group, and we're based we're here for education. Mm-hmm. We really want to inform the public about options that they have in healthcare. They can visit our website, which is healthevalley.org.
HEAL, H-E-A-L, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The
Heal
Valley.
the Valley.
Okay.
And they can get lots of information about upcoming seminars, and you'll see us out in the community at a variety of things. The last event we were at was the Two Cities Marathon.
Okay.
Just giving more information on options for finding the root cause of disease.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I don't want to get sidetracked. I really want to promote, number one, medical dental pharmacy and why it's different from other pharmacies. And this whole thing about hormones. And we're going to just scratch the surface. And I'm already inviting Diana back because, as usual, my poor last guest gets cut, the shortest amount of time. So how is medical dental pharmacy different? Where is it located? What do you do that the other, like Walgreens, don't do?
We're located at First and Mease in the Save Mart Shopping Center, and basically we're a compounding pharmacy. We've been open for over 42 years here in Fresno.
What does compounding mean? Because that word right there is going to. What is what is that? So what does that do?
Compounding means that I make everything from scratch. It's all personalized medicine. It's creams. It's suspensions. We do a lot of injections. We're the only outpatient pharmacy between Bakersfield and Sacramento that has a sterile room, which is where we do
I didn't know that.
injections and surgery meds.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of new things out there for surgery centers, so we're helping fill those needs as well. Early mornings, I was in there this morning at 5 a.m.
Bless your heart.
So we're very busy. We do research as well.
Okay.
We do veterinary medicine, so we help your pets too. We flavor things for kids. Filled a prescription the other day for a 500-pound lion, which was very, very cool.
That is
Couscous.
very cool.
He's out at Cat Haven.
I love Cat Haven.
I haven't been out there, but I really want to go
Cat
see
Haven.
him.
Oh my gosh.
I want to see who gave it.
What? Now, I've read a lot about hormone replacement. I was a pharmaceutical representative for many, many, many years. It's unfortunate that the public is so misinformed about particularly hormones for women. I forgot my books. You can buy different books at Medical Dental Pharmacy by Suzanne Summers, who's done a tremendous amount of research along this line, who fought breast cancer herself. This is just one of Diana's, can you see that? Hormones out of control. I've looked like this. I've looked like this person here before I got my hormones balanced. And I mean, it is. It's a crazy time.
I've looked like that. Yeah, I don't have all the answers.
Occasionally still look like that, but much less so than before. What is the difference? And this is so important. I just want to drive this home so critically. Doctors need more information, number one. Most doctors, unless they specialize in bioidentical hormone therapy and like Premarin. What's the difference? What do you think?
Well, today women have options, and doctors are familiar with bioidentical hormones. They dispense them all the time.
Do they?
They use estradiol. They use natural progesterone. Testosterone's a different story. There's none out there commercially for women. It's the combinations that they're not so certain about. Those have not been studied as far as using a micronized progesterone or a micronized estradiol.
Which means what? What's
that means
micronized?
just very small particles, easily absorbed.
Right.
The big difference between these synthetic conjugated estrogens, which is what Premarin is, and the bioidenticals like estradiol, estriol, and estrone, is the synthetic forms require additional biochemistry to get out of the body. And that's related to our detox mechanisms, which are impaired.
Like
because
liver?
Liver, kidney, they're impaired partly because of our environment and the toxins we're exposed to, nutrient deficiencies that are out there, dehydration, some simple things. But it does require additional biochemistry to get out of the body, and a lot of women lack those mechanisms, so it accumulates and it leads to a lot of different adverse effects.
Potential adverse, yeah.
Right, and those effects can be there for bioidenticals as well.
They
So
can.
people need to understand that they're not a safety net.
Okay.
It is dose dependent. You still need to be followed. You need to be monitored, doses adjusted, and again, frequent follow up to make sure that you're still on the right combination. And your needs change.
Yes.
I tell
Needs
women all the
change.
time we go through phases. I have teenagers on bioidenticals. I have 80-year-olds on bioidenticals.
Should
So
you
it's
ever-
not just for the 40-year-old or 50-year-old.
Right. Should you ever stop taking them? I mean, as a woman, can you take them till the end of your life? Can you use the creams and everything?
I think you can to some extent, but the doses differ.
Could it change? Okay.
They're going to change, and again, you still have to be followed for that by your physician. It's not recommended. The
Okay.
FDA only recommends 2 years of hormone replacement. I think that's a little unrealistic.
Well, that's a whole other show, how I feel about the FDA, but we
Yeah.
won't go there now. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
whole
okay, I'm sorry, I
can of
brought that up.
words. That's all right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
What I do see is a lot of women get put on hormones, and then they sort of jump from doctor to doctor, and they miss the follow up, and they don't do the same types of testing. There's all kinds of ways to test, and the importance is to stick with whatever method you choose in the beginning,
Right.
as far as follow up.
But don't you think it's so critically important that women and men educate themselves and read and not just take what their doctor says as the gospel? And I learned so much more from reading. And even if some of it is controversial, at least it's more information that
Right.
you can arm yourself with when you go into the doctor and say, well, I just read this, or, that. And the main, what I was kind of hoping you'd get into is that Premarin is from an animal. It's made from horse urine.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
And the bioidentical hormones are more closely resemble what we produce naturally in our own bodies,
Right.
correct? Okay.
Right.
All right. So that stuck out to me when I read that. I thought, why would anybody want to use horse urine when they can use something that their body more closely manufactures on its
Right.
own, and it decreases as you get older. And men too, they're not out of the loop, are they? No.
Men, I have just as many men on hormones as I do women, but they don't call it hormone replacement.
Oh, what do they call it? How do they make it more palatable?
It's strengthening
Okay.
hormones.
Because
They
what happens
feel
to
stronger.
testosterone as men get older?
Well, for men, estrogen goes higher and higher, which
That's right.
lowers testosterone more and more for men. So usually they end up at the urologist with symptoms.
Right.
And then they'll start getting injections, which they don't feel like is hormone replacement, but it is. And testosterone is actually a controlled substance.
Is it really?
It's very addicting for men.
Really?
So,
Well, that's where
again
the
something that they're all steroids.
Right.
You know,
Right,
even
right.
bioidenticals are steroids, but they're very addicting and again need to be monitored and
But
followed.
men are not out of the loop.
No, men are not.
And
They're not
need
going to get away with this one.
Men need to pay attention too for their health and their
That's
vitality and to stay on top of it. I mean, come on, guys, just man up, all right? Go get the test.
You'll feel better.
You'll feel better, yeah. Okay, so I want to thank Diana Smith. Your upcoming lecture. Is this your
Yes,
next-
we do have a
Quickly?
lecture coming up on January 18th, Wednesday at 5:30 in the pharmacy. You can call the pharmacy to sign up for that. It's all on hormones and hormone replacement, really more women oriented, but men are always welcome.
Absolutely, and I will have you back. I want to thank you, Diana, so much. I'm sorry your
Thank
time was
you.
short.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much. You're a wealth of information.
Thank
so
you.
thanks for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me.